Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Introbiz Online Networking webinar event. Lots of great to see, lots of new faces, and I'm delighted to welcome global performance coach and best-selling author Jairek Robbins tonight. It's a great honor to have you online, and just a quick story. I had a phone call from one of our members 2 weeks ago that they heard you speak in Ireland, and
he's online tonight, actually, Mike.
And I got a phone call about 11:30 at night saying, "I've just heard one of the biggest, best speeches of my life. You need to get this guy online, Jairek Robbins." And I said, "Right, okay." And I thought, who do I know who would know you? And I thought, right, my good friend Neil, who just spoke the same week, and thank God he knew you, and hey, thank God you're here, and I really appreciate you giving your time to spend with us tonight, because I know you're a very busy person. So listen, welcome Jairek, and thank you, and everyone's looking forward to listening to you tonight. I've got some questions for you that don't mind, I'll be asking. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered your passion for life and purpose.
Sure. So a couple of things that I think would be important. If you want me to jam through those presentations, I can do that just to share with everybody. I think those things are very tactically useful. And a lot of it's very like tactical, here's how to use it right now. Versus more of like story. And I realize story and who I am and all that stuff is important, but I always tease people. I'm like, what I've done in my past doesn't matter if I can't produce a result for you right now.
Yeah.
And so I can answer those for you. I just want to make sure tactically we're very useful with the time for people.
I think it was about the secrets of happiness, and that you shared, wasn't it? And also you shared what advice would you give to businesses in these current conditions?
Totally. So there's two things that I would want to share. One, how to activate high performance. So your absolute best self, which is really important, because there's a lot of things that are, if you consider like your best self, average self, or worst self, due to the nature of the environment around us, there's a lot of things dragging us down to not our best self right now. The news, the environment, how people feel, how people are treating each other, the quality of sleep we're getting, the quality of breathing we're doing every day. All these natural little habits and patterns are dragging most people to their average, if not worst self. And then we're trying to approach other humans as our average or worst self. And that tends to not work very well. So there's that piece. And then there's tangible, tactical business things people can do right now that make a world of difference if they do it right now. One of the tips which we could share, it's the first thing we teach people. It's helped us in the last 3 weeks, help business owners, 7 weeks, help business owners save between $3,000 to $300,000 put right back in their bank account by doing just one of the exercises. And it usually can take most people 2 hours to apply, very easy to do, and it works extremely well. And the people who saved the most, that was a company in Amsterdam who did it and saved $300,000. In the US here, we've been seeing anywhere between $3,000 a month to about $5,400 a month on average, which is like $60,000 for the year in savings. So those are tactical things people can do right now in business, and then tactical things we can do on the mindset and performance of who we are. If it's okay, I'd love to jump into those. Cool. Do I have the ability to share my screen? Let's find out. I believe I do. I'm going to throw the chat up here so I could see who's here. Perfect. So I'll start over here, which is our performance guide. And I always tell people, if we look at this, I always said the concept is winter is coming. We can cross that out and just say it's here. And it's very clear that it's here. In winter, if you psychologically just take a thought around winter, what happens in winter? And I'll jump over the chat box. So I'd love your guys' participation. What happens in winter time? What do you guys say? What are some of the things you normally and regularly see? David says it's cold. What else happens in winter?
And everyone feels a bit miserable because they're feeling cold and they want sunshine.
Got it? So cold, miserable, mood shift, you bunker down,
Yeah.
stay at home more. The business and winter and industry economy takes a dip. You wait for the sun, you stay asleep more, prepare for extremely busy times, not so keen to engage. These are all natural things. Now, is it fair to say, and you're going to have to excuse my drawings here, but I'm going to try my best. Is it fair to say that some people die in winter? That's my skull and crossbones. And other people do stuff like they go snowboarding in winter. That's a snowboard, if anyone is wondering.
Yeah.
And so some people are snowboarding while other people are dying. Some people are hunkering down with friends and family in a cabin and playing games and having the time of their life. And other people literally are running out of food supply and not sure what to do next. What's the difference? I always say the difference is how well you're prepared. Because if you and I were going to a cabin in the Alps and we were so excited to go there, and on our drive there was a store and we were like, nah, we'll go tomorrow. So we kept driving, got to the cabin, and we had zero supplies. And the next day it snows 12 feet of snow. I do not know how much that is in meters, but it's probably a lot. So lots of meters of snow, so much that like the door is covered in snow and we can't get out. Now, if it's an empty cabin with nothing in it but you, me, and a rocking chair, we're in trouble because we're going to be stuck there for a few days, and there's a good chance we're not going to survive if we can't get access to food and supplies and stuff. But if we rewind the story and we said, well, wait a minute, we always stop at the store and make sure we're prepared for this stuff. We load up with food and games and wood and fire clothes, warm clothes and all this stuff. And we take all that stuff with us back to the cabin. Now it snows this huge amount. And we wake up and we're like, okay, cool. I guess we're stuck here for a while. No big deal. And we hang out for 3 days and play games and hang out and have the time of our life. And the only difference was how well were we prepared? And so the question is, when a time like this hits globally, how well were you prepared? Some people right now are in an unbelievably solid position. They've been preparing for some type of chaos like this. And just to give you, in the US, there was a gentleman in the Great Depression, which is the worst US recorded time in economic history, who took $6 million of net worth and turned it into $130 million in net worth through real estate over the Great Depression. I was like, that dude was prepared. Now, for a lot of people, we're like, shoot, I'm still working on the $6 million in net worth. How the heck do we get that? And it's like, well, maybe you turn 100,000 into 500,000, or maybe you turn 10,000 into a couple 100,000 in this time if you're prepared. If you're not prepared, this is where a lot of people looking back at the Great Depression in the US didn't quite make it. And so the very first thing we have to say is, how do we get prepared? And I always use this little triangle as an example. I always say there could be down here, if this is you and I, and we say right now there could be some fear that exists, and we want to elevate from fear to courage. And if we were to elevate from fear to courage, let me get a little bit of a thinner marker here. There you go. So if we were to elevate from fear to courage, how do we do that? Well, fear lives in 3 places. Fear lives in the mind, fear lives in the body, and fear lives in the emotions. Right? And for a lot of us, where's the first place? And I'll go back to the comment section. Where's the first place that we try to handle fear? For most people, Philip says the mind. Absolutely right. And it doesn't work that well. I'll give you an example. So if I was walking down a trail, and I'll come back over here real quick. So if I was walking down a trail, so I'm walking and walking and walking and walking, and all of a sudden I hear, and I feel like a musty, slimy bear drool kind of hit my neck. And I instantly go, I know what to do. I'm smart. People like me, and my God, I'm going to be successful in life. Is that going to help me in this situation? Yes or no? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I could be the most positive person in the world and that bear is going to eat me. I'm going to be that really positive bear snack of the afternoon. Like, it tasted better because he was sure happy inside as I ate him, kind of thing. Like, that's not going to help much. But if I go back to here, if we looked at fear, if we were able to get it out of the physical body in this kind of thought process here, if I looked at fear and I said, wow, fear is in my emotions, fear is in my mind, fear is in my body. What if I went to the physical body first and said, okay, what could I do to get fear out of my nervous system so I can actually think straight? Because you think very differently when your mind's filled with fear versus not. And so what if I said, hey, here's a really aggressive way we can do this. This is like how do you knock fear out of the body? And we said, okay, we're going to do a 3-minute ice cold shower. And that's my version of an icicle right there. So 3-minute ice cold shower. And I don't know if you've ever done this. I'm going to check in the comments real quick. How many have taken a 3-minute ice cold shower? Yes. And did it extract every thought and feeling out of your body instantaneously? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. For most people, if you want to knock the thought out of you, knock the breath out of you, certainly knock the fear out of you, go take a 3-minute ice cold shower and you won't be able to breathe. You won't be able to think and you won't be able to feel a whole lot. You'll go numb. You won't go numb, but you'll feel that way. It's like clear-minded, totally present right here. Now, if you can do that for a total of 3 minutes, it's amazing what's waiting for you on the other side. It's what a friend of mine at Stanford Neuroscience says is superhuman, meaning you activate the strongest, most centered, calm, and present version of yourself just with that 3 minutes of cold. I've also never experienced my brain lie to me more in my entire life than when trying to stay in the cold shower for 3 minutes. After about 16 seconds, your brain will scream, I'm sure that's been 3 minutes, get the heck out of here. And so you want to tell your brain to shut up and just keep going because it's worth it. And somewhere around 60 to 90 seconds, it'll feel as if the water gets warmer, but that's actually your adrenal glands firing, which makes you feel stronger than you are. It's amazing. It's like you become the superhuman version of yourself within those 3 minutes of time. Other thing we can do is use the breath. And with breathing, so we can use our breath. And with breathing, this is something we can train ourselves. This is something we can train ourselves. That's absolutely amazing. A friend of mine who is a world-renowned biofeedback specialist and breathwork specialist, she gave me something she uses with pro athletes. She does it with pro golfers specifically, and let me zoom in here and I'll show you. When she starts to work with them, let's say this is our little chart, their heart rate, let's say normally is 70 beats a minute. They go hit the golf, and this is their golf swing when they swing. And right before they swing the club, their heart rate jumps up. And then let's say they totally hack the shot. Like it's a horrible shot. Their heart rate comes up like this and stays up here. Let's say this is like 110 beats per minute. That's a problem. Because when our heart rate jumps from a normal range up to 95 or 100 plus beats a minute, what happens is our body psychologically loses access to the prefrontal cortex, which is our executive decision-making part of our brain. And then we lose access to our fine motor movement, which is highly dependent on in golf. So that person is going to have a horrible game of golf moving forward. She has them do this really simple breathing technique and makes their heart look like this afterwards. They're going, it comes up a little for the swing, and it comes right back down to normal and stays there for the rest of the day. And I was like, how do you do that? What the heck did you do with these people? And she said, it's really simple. I have them in the morning, breath work. They do 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night. And they do 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out of breathing. So for 20 minutes, and then we do it in the AM and the PM. So 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. Breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose, breathe out for 8 seconds through your mouth. If that's all you do, after 10 weeks of doing this, it recalibrates your entire nervous system to calm. Now, why is calm important? I'll show you in a few minutes. One of my clients used to train the snipers for the Navy SEALs. I don't remember what the equivalent is on your guys' side of the pond. Navy SEALs are kind of like
SAS here.
There you go. SAS. Perfect. So the highest, best trained, special operators kind of people, those guys, he used to train the snipers for that group. And he said, there's two things you have to master: how to stay laser focused, yet aware of the chaos. And so this breathing pattern recalibrates your entire nervous system to stay calm and focused. It's really amazing. So it's 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. There's a really cool app called Breathe. It looks like this. It's just literally a circle, and you hit play, and it gets bigger when you breathe in, and then it gets smaller as you breathe out. And that's it. So you set this little thing. It's free on your phone. You set it for 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. You hit, oops, it's still going. Hold on 1 second. Let me turn this thing off. You hit go, and it naturally goes like that for 20 minutes. And that's it. Morning and night. Do it for 10 weeks every day, and it'll recalibrate your whole nervous system to calm. That'll get fear out of your body. Second, we got to get fear out of the emotions right up here. How we get fear out of the emotions is the questions you ask. Whatever question you use, and I learned this from my dad many years ago, whatever question you ask causes your brain to focus on something, and whatever you focus on, you feel. So if I were to draw just a reminder here, here's our little eyeball. Give it some eyelashes. And whatever you focus on, you feel. So we would say, what do we want to feel more of? And I'm going to go back to the comment section real quick. What would you like to feel more of every day? What would you like to feel more of? Joy. Okay. What else? Joy, focus, happiness. So let's see. We're going to throw happy and joy together. We're going to put a lightning bolt for focus, energized, excitement, peace, calm. I don't know how to draw calm. Calm? Okay, so let's just throw those. So happy and joyful, focused, and calm. So what we would ask is, what's the question we would need to ask ourselves in order to feel that way? So we could say, where is the blank in this moment? Where's the joy in this moment? So real quick, if I were to ask you that question, for those of you who want to feel joy, where is the joy in this moment right now? Could you think through the last 24 hours of your life and identify at least 2 moments where you experience joy? If they're not in the last 24 hours, what if you could extend that to the last 7 years of your life? Could you think of 2 incredibly joyful moments? What about moments where you felt completely energized in the last 7 years? 2 moments that you felt radically and totally energized. What about a moment when you felt incredibly calm or focused? Running a half marathon, reaching the summit of Mount Tobok. Hopefully I got that right. On the Inca Trail, very cool. So all of a sudden, as you're thinking of these moments, how do you feel? For most of us, we're literally starting to feel the thing we want to feel just by asking the question, where is the joy in this moment? Now, for calm and focus, I'll give you a breathing pattern. For focus, or lightning bolt, this is 4 seconds in, hold for 2 seconds, 4 seconds out, hold out for 2 seconds. So you're literally going to breathe in for 4 seconds. So you're going to hold for 2 and breathe out for 4. If you get into that breathing pattern, it'll literally cause your brain and biometrics of your body to go straight to focus. Now, with calm, you want to imagine a little box, and you're going to put 4 seconds on each side. So you're going to breathe in for 4. Hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold out for 4. If you stay in that rhythm, it'll literally put all your biometrics, your brain waves, your heart waves, everything back to calm, your blood pressure, everything. It's amazing. So you can use your breath to activate those states at a moment's notice when you want to. There's another device If someone can type this in the comment section for me, it's Apollo, which is APOLLO, neuro, NEURO.com. A friend of mine just gave me one of these. It's a little bracelet that goes on my ankle, and it vibrates in patterns that are scientifically proven to cause your nervous system to be calm, relaxed, focused, open for connection, or to go to sleep. So it's scientifically proven in lab studies that this little thing just vibrates in different patterns that tells your nervous system what state to go to. I've been playing with it for a week. My heart rate variability has gone up, which is the ability for me to either go calm or energized. My control over that has increased. My sleep quality has increased. It's very cool. My focus has increased throughout the day. And they just did some research around ADD and ADHD children using it who were able to focus better without the medication, but just using the tool. Very cool. So this is where I would start here. Time-wise, I'm going to skip a couple sections so 16 years, we've been helping entrepreneurs avoid heart attacks, divorces, and bankruptcies. If you think about it, those are kind of the three killers for entrepreneurs. You work so hard, you come home one day and there's a spouse sitting there with papers on the table that says, I don't want to do this anymore because you haven't been a good spouse. Most spouses go, shoot, I was a day too late. If there's papers on the table, you were a year too late and you didn't know what signals were going off and you didn't know how to spot them. That's usually the reality. When it settles that there's really a divorce coming, that person nearly has a heart attack, usually. And then the next year or so of going through it clearly takes their focus off their business and puts them in a place that they might go bankrupt. And so these three things, and many people say when I first talk to them, Jairek, you don't understand. Everything I'm doing is great. My health is great. My relationship's amazing. And my business is skyrocketing. I go, really? Can I take a peek and poke a little and find out for you? Because don't you want to be sure? And they're like, yeah, I guess, but I'm telling you, it's totally fine. I ask them to do a rating of their relationship, 0 to 10. I ask their spouse to do a rating of their relationship, 0 to 10. For some reason, they tend to rate their relationship extremely high. And their spouse might not have the same number. That's normally a devastating moment because it feels like you're like, what the heck? I didn't know I wasn't doing well in this area. And the key is you just didn't know what factors to be looking for. And you didn't have a clear measurement system. That's like me going into the P&L of your business and saying, are you profitable this month? And you going, I guess, without looking at the numbers. That'd be a very silly business move. But most of us do that relationship-wise every month. Is your relationship getting better or worse this month? What's the trend? Good, as always, I guess. And there's no measurement. You have no pulse. You have no P&L. You have no revenue, expenses, and profit of your emotional bank account. You have nothing that's taking the pulse of what's real. Same thing with people's health. I keep hearing this phrase and it drives me insane right now. And I don't want to start a debate with people, but the concept of it was a perfectly healthy person that died of the disease. I'm like, are you sure? Can I see their medical history? Because on the outside, they ran Ironmans, they ran marathons. They were such a good, healthy person. But then we look at their actual medical history and it's like, oh no, there was some real stuff going on underneath the surface here that we just didn't know as friends from afar. But when you see the real stuff going on, you go, oh shoot, they were highly susceptible. This was an incredibly dangerous thing for them. And so these thoughts are very important in understanding what's under the surface. Same thing with business. Most people say if they're highly profitable, they're in a good place. That's not the truth. There's businesses that are extremely profitable that are going to disappear in the next 6 to 10 weeks because they're holding all their profit in accounts receivable and not cash. And that's a problem because you can't pay your bills with accounts receivable. You can only pay your bills with cash or credit, and they have neither. Therefore, they're going to disappear even though they have 100 million in profit on their balance sheet. And that's a problem. And so these things we learn how to poke and where to poke to make sure things are really legit under the surface. That is my meeting I need to hurry for. So 3 lessons learned. I'll do this and then I'll jump over to the business real quick and hopefully this is useful. Number 1, Navy SEAL sniper. This is the SAS kind of guy. He built a $20 million a year business after being in the Navy SEALs. He said 2 things you need to master: being laser focused, yet aware of the chaos. This is really, really important, because if you're only focused, you shut off the whole world around you. It's focus, 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 focus. That's great. But I've heard that most of us are 3 decisions away from being out of business. So if we're only focused and we're not aware of what our team is doing or what's going on around us, there's a chance we can literally be taken out of business by 3 bad decisions one day. In the Navy SEALs, if you're only focused, down your scope of your rifle and you're not aware of what's going on behind you, someone sneaks up behind you and shoots you, you're no longer useful to the team. You're dead. Now watch this. If you're not focused, I don't know how many of you in the comment section will check, how many of you have had a day in this past probably 2 weeks that you begin the day, you end the day, and you look back at the day and go, what the hell did the day go? Did I even do anything today? Like, it was morning, now it's night. I feel like I got nothing done. How many of you have had one of these days? I'm seeing yes, yes, absolutely. Okay. So if you're not focused, you get nothing done if you're only aware of the chaos. Now, I said, who else is this important for? Just in case someone's on here, this is important for parents. If you're not focused throughout the day and you have your kids at home all day with you, you literally get nothing done business-wise or work-wise or personally or anything. If you're only focused, and if you go to your office, you say, not now, kids, leave me alone. I'm focused. I'm focused. Is it possible that kid number 3 accidentally burns down the house? Totally. If you have 3 kids, you certainly know that they can get up to some stuff real quick if you don't pay attention to them. And so you need the ability to do both. How we do this for clients, how do we train this muscle, is the big question we have. We use this little device. You can see this woman wearing it right here. It's this little headband she has on. And what it does is it tracks your brain waves while you're meditating or training your brain. When you completely clear your mind, you hear little birds chirping to tell you you have a clear mind. When you have lots of thoughts in your head, you get thunderstorms and lightning bolts to tell you you have a storm in your mind. It physiologically trains you how to clear your mind while staying aware of the chaos around you. The device's name is Muse. You can get a discount if you go to highperformancemuse.com. But the benefits of it: helps prevent depression, improves sleep, reduce stress, helps with mental resilience, attention, focus, memory, self-regulation of emotions, communication and assertiveness, decision-making, perspective, awareness of other needs. It's like superhuman powers. And all you need is 10 minutes a day with this. Based on 120 research institutions, here's all the things it helps with. So anxiety, depression, ADD, pain, tinnitus, traumatic brain injury, age-related cognitive decline. This could be something like Alzheimer's or memory loss. And it's very helpful supporting hospital workers as well. So this is one tool, brain training every day. Next tool, we talked about these breathing patterns. So we already talked about box breathing. This is how we get calm, right? This is calm, and it's the 4 seconds on each side. The big hold. There's an app you can download called XPT, which is Extreme Performance Training. And they have a free module on there called, what is it called? Midday Energizer. And what they do is they take you on an 8-minute breath journey where they have rapid breathing, slow breathing, box breathing, and then they have holds for about a minute at a time. And what happens with this big hold is it literally, through your breath, energizes your entire mind and body. And you see your physical energy just shoots through the roof by doing it. So that I would highly recommend downloading that app. The final is a reset breath. And we can do this one together just so you can get a sample of how quickly this stuff works when you do it. We're going to take 3 breaths together. The first, it's going to go in through your nose. We don't have to do it yet. I'll show you first. We're going to go in through our nose. At the top, we're going to gasp a little more air in. So it'll be like, and then we're going to squeeze. We're going to squeeze our face, squeeze our hands, squeeze our arms, squeeze our body. We're going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And on 1, we're going to open our mouth. We're going to drop our head, drop our shoulders, collapse our diaphragm, and let all the air fall out all at once. And it's very important we do that part. So let's do it together. We'll do it 3 times. In through our nose. A little more at the top. Squeeze. 3, 2, 1, all the way out. Big drop, as if it all falls out at once. In through our nose. A little more at the top. Squeeze. All the way out. One more time. In through our nose. A little more at the top. Squeeze. All the way out. How do you feel? For most people, I'll check the comments. For most people, I hear tingly-headed, relaxed, calm, present, brilliant, nice, fabulous. Okay. What's happening there with those 3 breaths, it's the equivalent of pressing the reset button on a computer, and it resets your peripheral nervous system by resetting your vagus nerve, which is connected to your peripheral nervous system. So if you want to reset your whole nervous system at any point, you can use those 3 breaths and instantly reset your whole nervous system and body. So these things literally feels like there's got more space in my head, relaxed, tingly headed, feels good, relaxed. Wow. Good feelings, it sounds like. And so with that, that's the piece here where you could see how quickly this stuff works. Like it literally in the moment gives you real results when you do it. And that's what we're looking for here tactically and tangibly for you. So these are 3 different breaths you can use to calm yourself, energize yourself, or reset your nervous system when you need it. This next section, it's really simple. It's networking. It's how to connect with people. This is how a friend of mine made a $10 million deal using this little formula. Harvard says who you spend time with as your peer group determines how long you live, how much you'll earn, and how happy you'll be in your lifetime. So probably a worthy thing to pay attention to. We use this 33% rule, which says 33% of people should be ahead of you, meaning they're a few steps ahead of you in life and you can learn from them, so you can learn it. The next one should be on the same level as you, so you can live it with them and trade what's working and what's not. And then the third one, they might be a step or 2 behind you. And these people, you can pay it forward and share with them and help them catch up. And so if you purposefully build your peer group like this, it's a really amazing thing to do. And it's very smart. So people you can learn from, people you can share with, people you can give to. With that, this guy, if you've ever seen him, he annoyed he's a friend of mine. His name is James Altucher. He wanted to be friends with this guy who's Jim Cramer. He's a famous stock guy on the US television network. And so he wanted to connect with him and he said, hey, can I take you out for a cup of coffee? And he said, the likelihood he's going to respond back to that email is slim. So he did a really simple thing and say, well, that's not going to work. So instead, he sat down and for 30 days, he wrote down 10 ways he thinks he could genuinely add value to Jim's life. 10 ways every day. So at the end of the 30 days, he had 300 ideas. He took his top number 1 idea and said, okay, I'm going to do it. And his idea was, I'm going to write out 10 blogs I wish he would write on his blog because I would love to read them. And he goes, okay. So he went and researched the topics of the blogs. He researched the data or the information that would support the topics. He came up with the SEO-friendly titles to the topics. He put them all in one giant email and sent them to Jim and said, hey, I'm a huge fan, avid reader of your blog. I would love to learn these 10 things from you, and I wish you would write about it. Here's the SEO-friendly titles, all the content, and the research data to back up everything for these things. Anyways, hope to connect with you someday. He got an email back in 10 minutes that said, would you be willing to come and write these for our blog for our show? He said, I'd love to. While he was there, each day he looked around and said, hey, can I identify 10 ways I can make this place better from the inside out? One day he identified something that was a piece of software that was missing. And what he landed up doing was he hired someone to create the software. He took it back and presented it to Jim and his team. And Jim and his team bought the software from him for $10 million. And all of that came from him wanting to connect with this guy and take him out to coffee. And instead of saying, hey, Jim, can I pick your brain? He said, hey, here's 10 blogs I wish you would write about, all the research, the SEO-friendly titles, and all the content already put together. By taking action and truly adding value, he opened up a relationship that turned into a $10 million deal. So that thought, when times like this, you need to build your network and make sure it's extremely powerful. Finally, how to be the happiest person you know and 10x your happiness literally this week is a simple one. Research shows there's over 200 studies on over 275,000 people that shows happy people do better as leaders, make more money in sales, have better relationships, better immune systems, all kinds of stuff. And so I'll skip that part. It's my wife. She likes to put funny slides in for me. So real simple, really easy. 10 minutes of meditation each day, which we already talked about. 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Find something to look forward to. I always say plan a vacation. That's a palm tree on an island. It doesn't matter if you take the vacation, but if you plan the vacation, it'll prime your brain to look forward to it in the future, and it'll overall boost your mood and satisfaction with life. Do a random act of kindness each day. It shoots off endorphins. It shoots off a little bit of adrenaline. It also shoots off oxytocin, which is a connection chemical inside of us that makes us feel more connected to ourselves, our community, and everyone around us. If you've ever watched a YouTube video of someone doing something very kind for other people and then have tears in your eyes at the end, it's because your body's released a bunch of oxytocin and you feel connected to them just by observing acts of kindness as well. So when you go do a random act of kindness, you benefit from the oxytocin. The person receiving the act of kindness benefits from the oxytocin, and anyone observing the act of kindness benefits from the oxytocin as well. It's an amazing way to elevate the community. Finally, 30 minutes of solid exercise to get your heart rate up each day will boost your overall happiness and satisfaction with life. This is part one. Hopefully that's useful. Now I'm going to swap over to part two and see if I can jam some of this in for business. This is our small business owner survival guide. We do this for free in 90-minute sessions every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. With this, really simply, if you're a small, let me get a better marker. Let's try this one. If you're a small business owner, we're going to take you, and the first goal we're going to aim for in a time like this is how to survive. If we can get you to survive, then we have a chance after all this chaos is over to get you up here and thrive. But if you don't survive this chaotic time in the business world, there's no point in trying to thrive and grow and multiply because you're going to be out of business. You're gone. And so how do we survive this chaos? There's three things we need to do immediately. Number one, we need to focus on the things that we can protect. I think things we can protect. And there's some certain things that if we don't protect in our business, we will be out of business very quickly. And we're going to show you what those are. Number two, things we're going to have to pivot. Things that, imagine we're a sailboat and someone accidentally drops the anchor. If it's just the anchor floating above the sand behind us, it slows us down. If the anchor starts to collect seaweed and sea turtles and all kinds of stuff, it gets so heavy that it starts to pull the boat underwater. If it gets too heavy, it sinks the entire boat. And so we want to say, what could we pivot? What things are we holding on to that used to work that if we keep holding on to is going to sink our business and put us out of business? We might need to shelf those and pivot to something that can put some wind behind our sails and help us turn into a rocket ship moving forward. And we can show you how we've done that and how we've helped other businesses do it. Finally, the third piece is we want to be able to profit in a time like this, or we could say prosper for people who don't feel it's right to profit right now. There's some people out there who's like, when people struggle, I feel wrong profiting. It's like, okay, well, prosper in this time and you can help others prosper as well. So protect, pivot, and prosper are the three pieces here. If we were to look at protect, so protect, we can survive 30 days without food. We can survive 3 to 5 days without hydration, we can survive about 3 to 5 minutes without oxygen. And so when we look at the oxygen, we say, what is oxygen in our business? Well, oxygen for most businesses is going to be cash. Now, specifically, it's not financing cash. It's not, financing cash or investment cash. This is operating cash. So if we look at operating cash, how do we conserve and preserve the operating cash we have? This is that simple exercise that helps, companies save between $3,000 to $300,000 in just about 2 hours of doing it. The first thing we do is we print out all of our expenses, our P&L and or our itemized sheets or our credit card receipts. And in green, we're going to highlight everything that we absolutely must pay. Like we cannot not pay these, and that's going to turn green. Second, we're going to go through and we're going to highlight in yellow things that are kind of a maybe. So this is our yellow highlight. Oops, right here, yellow, and here. So our yellow highlight, these are maybes. Like could do without it, might have to keep it, might want to keep it, not sure, but I might have to cut it if I don't hit a certain goal by a certain time. Final thing we're going to highlight in red. This is the why the heck was I paying this in the first place? This should have never been something. Let me find a red real quick. There we go. So you're going to highlight this in red. This is the why the heck was this even an expense on my expense report in the first place? Now, the largest I've ever had in red was a big law firm in London, one of the top partners there. He did this exercise on his personal P&L. He found $50,000 a month in his personal P&L, which came out to over $600,000 in savings off of his personal expense report in his own personal life. That's not business. Business-wise, in the last 7 weeks, we've had people between $3,000 and $300,000 in savings that they've been able to cut off their 2020 expenses just by using that simple little process right there. Second piece, so we got to conserve our oxygen, which is our O cash. Second piece we got to conserve is our core clients. Core clients. These are the people that you depend on them and they depend on you. They depend on your service or product for their life to be as good as it is. And your business is highly dependent on them continuing doing business with you, because if they stop, you'll go out of business. They're your core clients. You depend on them, they depend on you. What we need to identify very quickly is what do they need? What do they want? And what do they desire? What do they need? What do they want? What do they desire? Number two, we got to identify how do they need it? How do they want it? How do they desire it? Let's just take this personal for a second. If two people said, well, I really want love. And one person says, well, how do you want love? And they say, I want you to scream from the rooftops, I love you. And the other person says, okay, I just want you to whisper it to me every morning, I love you. They both ask for love, but if you scream at the wrong person and whisper to the other person, I don't think they're going to feel the love. This is the same thing with your core clients. You need to know what do they want and how would they want to receive it. If you whisper to the wrong person and scream to the other, you're going to lose your core clients. And if you lose your core clients, there's a chance you're going to go out of business. So we got to really get to know these people at a whole different level right now. And we got to know how we can deliver. A need is kind of like, I need a safe place to live. I need oxygen and food. A want, I want to be able to travel. I want to have nice clothes, but I can survive without my wants. I can't survive without my needs. My desires, oh man, those are things I might not even know how to put words to. It's just a feeling. Like I open a magazine and go, ooh, that'd be cool. It's a feeling. And you want to know all this information about your core clients, which means you want to research like crazy right now and get to know them. And you want to deliver for them better than anyone else has ever delivered. So that, and this is the key, how would you have to deliver what they need, want, desire, so that it would be insane for them to ever consider going anywhere else? That's the question. how would you have to deliver for them right now? So it would literally be insane for them to consider going anywhere else. If you can do that, you're going to keep your core clients. Finally, your community and or your team. With your team, you have to identify who are you going to keep and who might you need to transition. And that's a fair question. There's a lot of times right now where I want to keep everyone on our team, and if things got too tight, I'm going to have to pick who am I going to keep and who might I need to transition. People you need to keep, your business won't survive without these people being on your team. You have to keep them. Find a way. People you need to transition, breaks your heart, but you're going to need to do it. There's a beautiful way to transition people, and there's an extremely ugly way to transition people right now. And I've seen both. An ugly way, I saw one gentleman who fired 80 out of his 180 staff members, and he wrote them all an email that says, "You're fired immediately. If you don't like it, here's my lawyer's information. Goodbye." I was like, wow, you clearly showed your team how much you really care about them, huh, buddy? Like, clearly. I was like, what a horrible way to do it. I get it has to happen, but that's not a very good way to do it. On the flip side, there was a gentleman in the US who had to close 46 locations across the country and let go of 4,000 employees. He sat down and had his team create this little one page that basically said, here's the person's name. Here's what they were hired to do. Here's their current level of performance. Here is, their values in business. Here's an endorsement from us on what they're really good at. And here's what they're most looking to do in the world. Then what they had them do is they shopped those little sheets out to their vendors, their competitors, their marketplace, their email list to help them make a transition to work with other places. And I'm like, that was a beautiful way to do that. So one was a very ugly way to do it. One was an incredibly beautiful way to do it. And I saw both. And I would say, okay, how can you make sure that you're the person who does it beautifully if you have to transition people on your team? So just a challenge to you. Either way, the people you're going to keep or the people you're going to transition, you need, I say, a high HP guide, which is a high performance guide. How are you going to keep them mentally, emotionally, physically at their absolute best in this process? Because if you don't, there's a chance that your team's going to go home and for the next 6 weeks, argue with people on the internet, binge watch the news, consume way too much negative information. And by the time they come back to work with you, they're going to be exhausted, overwhelmed, and like a volcano ready to explode. Someone's going to sneeze in your office and the whole office is going to grab their pitchfork and be ready to jab them and get in a fight with somebody just because they're overwhelmed. So if your team's working from home, we just had Johnson & Johnson reach out to us and a few other major organizations asking, can you help us produce a wellness piece or a high performance guide, as I call it, to help keep our team mentally, emotionally, physically at their best while they're at home. So when they come back, we get the best version of them versus the average or worst version of them. So you want to have something like that in place for your team. Moving forward, this is the pivot. And with pivot, we need clarity. And what we need clarity on, really simple, and this is oversimplifying this, but what is working and what is not working? This is really important. This is where if you're holding on to your favorite flagship product or service that used to work in good times, and you're holding on with a death grip and you're holding on for dear life. And you're like, it used to work, it used to work, it used to work. And you keep holding on so tight, there's a chance what used to work literally is not working right now and has a chance to sink your whole company. Now, there's lots of ways we can analyze this. It might be things that are high turnover but low profit. That's something that, if it's high turnover but low profit or high revenue and low profit, that could put you out of business right now. Costs way too much money. It could be something that used to sell that's not selling anymore, but we don't want to offer anything else. We just like what we sell, and that's that. It could be something where it's high impact. So your heart, you're super happy and you love to do it. It makes you feel so alive to do it, but it's not putting any money back in your bank account to put food on your table. So we got to analyze. I had a business mentor of mine come into my business years ago, and he sat me down. He said, I want you to identify the most profitable thing you do. I want you for the next 12 months to eliminate everything else and only focus on the most profitable thing you do. He helped us create more profit within the first quarter of that year than the entire 12 months combined prior. Because all we did was focus on the most profitable thing we do and 10x our effort on it, and all of a sudden it amped it up. It's very simple, but that's the first thing we need to do in a pivot. In tight times, 10x your effort down on the most profitable things you do. Second, we need to find the sweet spot. Sweet spot, if we go down here and think of this real quick, there's things that are nice to have in life. Nice to have a cool car, nice to have a nice outfit, certainly survive without it. And there's things that you must have in life. If you don't have these things, you do not survive. Oxygen, food, community, love. You don't have these things, eventually you die from the inside out or the outside in, one or the other. And so we got to think, have you positioned your product and service as a nice to have or a must have? That's question number one. Question number two, there's irrelevant. I always mess this up. Are there 2 R's or 2 L's in irrelevant? Someone is going to help me here. I'm checking the comment section.
1.
2 R's, 1 L. Whew, I got it right this time. My goodness. So you can present it in an irrelevant way, or you can present it in a compelling way. Now, if it's a nice to have and the way you say it is irrelevant, let me give you an example. How many of you have received an email from a company in the last 3 days using the exact same marketing pitch as 6 months ago, before this pandemic took place? Yes. How many of you immediately thought, are you freaking serious? Don't you know what's going on right now? And went delete, 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 unsubscribe, delete. Why would they send me this crap? How many of you felt that way? This is what we call the death zone. Irrelevant and nice to have, dead, unsubscribed, leave me alone, go away. Why would I talk to you? Versus if it's a must have and compelling, this is thrive. This is amazing. This is where you see massive lift. It's really amazing what happens when you can transfer the positioning of your product from nice to have to must have, from irrelevant to compelling. You make that transfer in the way you describe what you do, you'll have people lined up around the block trying to work with you even in times like this. If you don't, right there. Final thing we need to do, and just for time, I'm skipping a few pieces, but I'm trying to give you the most important parts of this. Hopefully it's useful. Final thing we need to do is we need a filter. And a filter means we need to slow down our decision-making process. Real quick, if you could take back the 3 worst financial decisions you've made, how much money would be back in your bank account? I'll look over at the comment section real quick and wait for this one. This is a fun number. If you could take back, like you get a take back, how much money would be back in your bank account if you could reverse the 3 worst financial decisions you've ever made? $15,000 from David, a lot from Philip, a fortune, $35,000, about $100,000. I dread to think about it. Most of us do. $40,000. Okay. So we've seen anywhere between 15 to 100,000 on here so far. And that's just a couple of you. Isn't that amazing? Just the worst 3 decisions we made. A big oops. Happens to all of us. 500,000, 200,000 easily. Okay. So with those numbers, were those more emotional decisions or really logical, well thought out, sound decisions you made? I'll check the comments real quick. For most of us, they were highly emotional decisions. Highly emotional decisions, which means we were moving too fast. So what we have to do is slow down our decisions, especially in a time of chaos like this. So we need this little chart right here that says, you know, if I do it, what will happen and what won't happen. And you go, okay, well, if I decide to do this, here's what will happen, and here's what won't happen. Cool. And if I decide to, don't do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, here's what will happen if I don't do it, and here's what won't happen if I don't do it. If that's all you did, could you imagine if it put that 200,000 pounds right back in your pocket? You'd write me a letter and say, Jairek, you just saved me 200,000 pounds. Thank you so much. And all I got you to do was slow down when making decisions right now. This is a filter. It causes you to think slowly about what you're about to decide on and get real clear, to get clarity on what will happen and what won't happen. Now you're making an intelligent, logical decision. I would also implore you to go take a 3-minute ice cold shower before making this decision and do some of that calm breathing before making this decision. If you do these things combined, you got like superhuman powers of making powerful decisions. The final page here, I have a couple minutes and I got to jump for my client call. Final piece here is if we were going to profit, if we were going to bring something to market, most of us don't have access. Should have done that for my last 2 marriages. Oh, yes, this might have helped. It's amazing where these comments come from, but I enjoy them. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to use that in the future. That's a good one. And it's so true, though. So true. And so this last piece, most of us don't have a $50 million R&D budget to go do research and development on a new thing we want to launch to the public. So without these major budgets, if we're going to bring something grassroots to market right now and have a chance at really taking it to market, the number one thing we need to do is become incredibly niche in what we're doing, which means if you look at these little arrows, if you try wide to wide, this is I help everyone do everything. How many of you know someone who's recently graduated from a life coaching school of some sort? Any hands raised out there? You know, like a coach who's recently graduated. You ever see their marketing in the beginning? Who do they try to help? You're like, oh, you're a coach. That's awesome. Who do you help? Everybody. What do you help them with? Everything. How many of you are like, that's nice. Nice to meet you and goodbye. Because you don't know who they help. You don't know how they help them. Versus in the long run, I'm a coach. But if someone says, who do you help? I said, I help 35 to 45-year-old entrepreneurs who make $500,000 a year avoid a heart attack, divorce, and bankruptcy. That's it. The only people I help. They're like, oh, okay. And all of a sudden they get it. And it makes sense. Hold on one second. I need to tell my client I'll be right there. Hey, Dean.
Hey, how are you?
Good, sir. I'm finishing a presentation. Can I have 5 minutes and I'll call you right back?
No rush. Not at all.
Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Client is now waiting. So wide to wide, we're going to be in trouble. Think of this as a general practitioner, as a doctor. I help everyone with everything. Now, they're a doctor, so we'll give them like $2 signs because they'll help everyone do everything. They still make good money, though. This is wide to narrow. This is a specialist. So let's say this is a special foot doctor. So they make a little bit more money, and they only specialize in helping heal foot pain. Now, if we come over here, narrow to narrow, narrow to narrow. Let's say this is a brain surgeon. This is my version of a brain. Probably why I'm not a neurosurgeon. Brain surgeon, and they only operate on the prefrontal cortex up here. And they help people make better logical decisions. And that's all they do. If you're making dumb decisions, you go to this brain surgeon, they fix you up. All of a sudden you make better decisions, and they help you solve that problem. How much money do you think this person makes? Or let's say they work back here on the occipital lobe, and they help people who can't see to see again after surgery. How much do you think they charge, and how much do you think they earn if they're literally an occipital load surgeon who helps blind people see again? The key is they earn as much as you can possibly imagine because the impact they make is life-changing, and no one cares about the price at that time. They will find a way to pay it because they want the life-changing impact it creates, if that makes sense. They're no longer paying for the service, they're paying for the impact that it's going to have on their life. If you're going to bring something to market right now, you need to stay away from the first two sections and get real niche in who you help and how you help them. Second piece, you're going to need a partner. A partner is going to have three things: reach. This is know, like, and trust, which is a relationship. And then the third is a world-class product or service. If you have those three things, it's amazing what happens. Quick story. I had a partner. I found one in Los Angeles, California. She had an email list of 10,000 local small business owners who did not have an online web presence or website. We created a product and service to help them get an online presence properly set up. And then we went and built a relationship by delivering a free presentation to them and showing them what to do. We generated in 16 months, $800,000 in new sales together. And I went from, as a new coach, signing up 1 or 2 clients a month to signing up 20 clients a day. That was a game changer for me in that business because I had the right partner. And we used these 3 little pieces: relationship, reach, and a world-class product or service. And we brought something to life very quickly that allowed us to make a lot of impact, help these businesses tremendously, and earn a ton of money in the process. Final piece here, we need a pitch. Most people build products and then send their marketing out towards their prospects, and hopefully they hope their marketing will bring their prospects running back to buy the product. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's people who are more in love with their product than their customers. Do this. Put your customer, if you're going to build something, put your customer right smack in the middle of all of it and ask, what are the 3 biggest things they struggle with? And sit down and create solutions that literally help solve their 3 biggest problems. Then you go directly to that ideal client of yours or best client and say, hey, you're this person right here, very niche. Can I help you solve these 3 problems in your life? And their jaw will hit the ground and they'll say, those are the 3 biggest problems I have in my life. And you say, okay, if I can help you solve them, would you be willing to do business with me? They're like, yeah, I'd pay anything for that. Like, please, those are literally my 3 biggest problems in life. And so with your pitch, we need to build your pitch around helping them solve these 3 problems. That way, when you walk up to your perfect person, you say, hey, if you're a 35 to 45-year-old business owner, I'll help you avoid a heart attack, divorce, and bankruptcy. Many of you may say, hey, I'm doing fine right now, but I guarantee if I sent you a survey and your spouse a survey, we might get different feedback than you think. Can you see how they go, oh. I'm seeing spouses on here giggle with each other. See, it strikes a nerve. Is that a good pitch? Yes or no? Did it catch your attention? Did you all of a sudden look at your spouse and go, you better not give me a low score? There's some things that pop up here instantly. I said this in a group of business owners one time. I had a dude on the other side of the table yell out, is this an intervention? How long have you been following me? I was like, I don't even know your name, but yes, they sent me for you. We should talk. And he started laughing. It was very funny, but I do want to talk to you now. And so really clearly, this is how we bring something to life. If we're going to bring something to life right now, be very niche, find a partner who has the reach, build something and build a relationship and a product that can deliver, build a powerful pitch that speaks to the 3 problems you solve in these people's lives, be very specific in who you want to help, and you'll have the ability to bring something to market that'll go quickly. so that you're not stuck trying to help everyone do everything, making a tiny bit of money in a time like this. And now, I hope this is helpful. 3 things we're looking to do throughout this presentation. Number 1, I hope you protect those 3 key pieces of your business. Take you from, I like vulnerability, like people who can share their feelings and tell what's up. You don't want to be vulnerable in your operating cash right now. You don't want your core clients to be vulnerable and be picked off from your business right now. And you don't want to lose your best team members in a time like this. So please protect them. 2, pivot, sinking ship the rocket ship. Please do not be stubborn and hold on to something that used to work and allow it to sink your business. Pivot, be smart, switch to what'll turn your sinking ship into a rocket ship. And we showed you what to do there. Finally, be very niche in who you help and build everything around your clients in a time like this. And those you'll have new clients that'll stay with you for life because you custom built stuff just for them. And that'll help you profit or prosper in a time like this. I'm going to step back out here and say thank you for letting me hang out with you. I have a client I got to jump to. Hopefully this was useful.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
So welcome. I lost where you guys went on video.
Yeah. Can you see us now on calibre?
Oh, there you are. Found you.
Yeah, sorry. We had an issue. I had this thing going on my Mac and it was just frozen. It froze. Like, luckily, my daughter's with me and I'm on hers now. So.
No, I thought that's what you guys do when people are speaking. Like you freeze each other in smiling positions and then be like, okay, great. Now we can go grab dinner. We'll be back in an hour.
No, it's just typical, isn't it? But no, I've had problems with my Mac today and yesterday and it's played up again. So, but you know,
Very
I just
cool.
want to thank you so much because you were absolutely amazing.
Totally. Sorry I had to go so fast. If anyone wants to go slowly through that presentation with me, we do it for free on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Eastern, your guys' time. And they can find it at jarekrobbins.com/SOS. I don't get to use SOS very often on my website, but I figure if any time in history is a good time to get to use it, now might be a good one. So anyone's welcome to come check that out. It's free on Fridays. And then if you want the high performance, the first thing we did in the beginning, I spoke at a stadium in Germany with like 15,000 people in November. We just got the footage back from it. And there's a 17-minute version of that on YouTube where you can go grab that. I'll just type it's jrctv.com for our YouTube channel for the high performance one. And it's jarekrobbins.com/SOS for the free business training on Fridays. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you.
Well,
Give everyone a big round of applause to Jairek, guys.
see you guys later.
Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.